I can't believe we're into November already. Where's the time gone? Hi everybody, it's Claire from Claire's Food Haven. Today I'm going to be cooking a beef cobbler. Now first step, I'm going to turn on the slow cooker because I'm going to be cooking the beef in there. I'm also going to turn on this hob so we can get the vegetables going. Now for this dish, this is for 2 people. I've got 350 grams of stewing steak. This is extra lean diced Scotch beef. 2 onions, 2 small onions or 1 large onion will do, a couple of carrots, handful of mushrooms, some garlic cloves, a beef stock cube and some red wine and a little bit of flour to help thicken the gravy. For the topping, for the scone topping or the scone topping, we're going to be making some cheese scones to go on top. I'm going to be cooking them in the oven to start with, and that's going to be self-raising flour, a little bit of milk, some cheese and a little bit of butter. So first off, I'm going to put some oil in this pan and we're just going to get the onions going and the garlic cooking in there. Okay, it's a low cost meal, so I've worked out the price for everything. Just cut this onion up. Do this first and then we'll talk about the cost of everything. Altogether it comes in at just under £8 this meal, which is amazing. I got most of the ingredients at Aldi that I'm going to be talking about. I should have started cutting the garlic first, but I went straight for the onion, but that's okay. I like to take off the outer layers there. Doesn't have to be red onion. If you prefer the brown onions, that's fine, you know. Either will do. I think red onions are a little bit sweeter. I prefer the flavour of them. I'm just going to rinse this under the tap because I can already feel my eyes well enough to leave it there. And just wash my hands in cold water as well, that helps with the fumes from the onion. So I've got some garlic that I'm going to add in there as well. Peel all the white stuff off the garlic and chop off the ends. And these little cloves are a bit more fiddly to prepare, but that's okay. In the pan with the onion there. So I'm just going to let those cook for a few minutes. Okay. So the cost for this, to make the steak part of the meal, it's £3.99 for the 350 grams of stewing steak. A stock cube works out about 23p. 2 small onions, about 10p each, so that's about 20p. Couple of carrots. Well, I'm going to actually add 3 carrots. That'll be 30p. I've only got 100ml of red wine. I'd like to have a little bit more than that ideally, but that's okay. I can also use a little bit of Liam to jazz it up a bit as well. So the 100 ml of red wine, it works out about 85 pence. The cooking oil, 5 pence. Liam 3 pence. So altogether for the steak part, it works out at £6.10 for the meat part of the dish with the veg. Oh, I'm also going to serve some broccoli with it. I forgot. This was about 75 pence, so about half of that, so call it 35 pence for the broccoli as well. That's going to be served on the side. So that comes in at about £7.50 for that. And then we've got the scone part of the meal. For that we're going to need 200 grams of self-raising flour, which I worked out about 7 pence. 100 millimetres of milk, 12 pence. 50 grams of butter, 41 pence. 75 grams of cheddar, 31 pence. 1 egg, 22 pence, and a few herbs, because I'm going to add a few dried chives into it, or you could use rosemary, 3 pence. So altogether for the scone topping for 2 people, it comes in at £1.16. So you add that onto, added it all together, it's £6.10 for the steak, £1.16 for the scone, so it's £7.23 plus 35 pence for the broccoli. So that'd be £7.58 for the food altogether. And then the energy used, 5 pence for the slow cooker for 4 hours comes in at 20p. The oven for half an hour for the scones, well, it'll be about 20 minutes. That'll come in at about 45 pence. So the energy altogether is 65 pence to make the meal, or thereabouts. So if we add that onto the £7.58, it comes in at just over £8 to make this meal. So you're looking at about £8.20 altogether, which is a really good price for a home cooked meal. So I'm just going to stir, and that's for 2 people, folks. I'm just going to prep the carrots to put in with this veg. Oh, I've got the mushrooms to do as well. Carrots aren't, you don't think, oh, but once we peel those, they'll be fine. I've got the mushrooms to do. I'm just going to cut them up as well. We'll do the mushrooms first. I'm going to turn that pan down to 3 because it's a little bit, just burning a little bit there. So I think they call it saute, you know, when you saute the veg like this, you're cooking it in the oil, and it brings out all the flavours of the veg, especially the onion, you know, like onion and garlic. When you get them cooking in the frying pan like that in some oil, it just releases all these amazing smells and flavours. And then you can add the other veg in as well if you like at this stage. I'll just chuck the mushrooms into the frying pan. And stir. And I'm going to grate these carrots. Sorry, I'm going to peel the carrots. I'm not going to grate them. I'm not making a coleslaw. Just peel the carrots. Get that skin off them. Okay. Oops. Give them a little rinse under the tap. I'm going to cut them up as well. Put them in the frying pan just to cook for a few minutes with the rest of the veg. Veg has been cooking for a few more minutes, 3 minutes. I'm happy with that. I'm going to pop this into the slow cooker now. I'm going to keep the hob on because we're going to use this pan to brown up the beef next. Pop it in there like that. Get all the bits out. And put this back on the hob with a little bit of oil. I'm going to put the beef on. Sometimes they have a bit of paper here, but there's no paper there, it's just straight, it's just beef. Looks good. So I'm just going to brown this beef up in the frying pan. The beef's been cooking away there for 8 minutes in the frying pan. I've got it on 4, so it's on quite a high heat. There's quite a lot of fat and water coming off it, you can see there. So I'm just going to turn that down to 3. And I'm going to put a tablespoon of flour in here. You can use plain or self-raising, doesn't matter, maybe half. So a generous tablespoon plus half. And I'm going to stir that in. Coat the meat in it. Now there's different stages you can put the flour. You wouldn't have to necessarily put the flour in at this stage, but I like to do it like this. And then what I do is I add the red wine into it, and that kind of unsticks the flour from the bottom of the pan like that. So you get like a little. I'm just going to turn the hob off actually, because I don't need it now. I'm just going to stir that in. Like that, and then I'm going to tip this into the slow cooker. A good stir. I want to scrape all that out, so I'm going to get a bit of hot water in there as well and just give it a wee stir. Get all that out there. I'm also going to add a stock cube in here with some hot water. I'm going to do a cup up for now. Kettle's just boiled. Just boil it again, just give that a stir. So I've got a beef stock cube. There we go. Just going to add that into a cup. It hasn't even really crumbled. A bit moist. There we go. And then I'm just going to stir this with a fork till it's dissolved. Stir. I forgot the lean pea. I didn't have any lean pea. I can do that now. Just put that lean pea in there. Pour the stock in. Ooh. It's not cooked yet, but I can already tell that it's going to be tasty. Just give that a good stir, and then that flour will thicken up the stock that I've just put in there. So I'm going to put the lid on and leave this to cook for about 4 hours, but I'm going to come in and check on it after a couple of hours to make sure that it doesn't need any more liquid adding to it. This is smelling good. Oh. Oh my, look at all that steam. Oh. Right, giving it a stir. Oh, still plenty of liquid in there. I'm pleased with that. I think we'll keep that as it is for a bit longer, and I'll come and check it in an hour. That smells amazing. Oh, that beef and the red wine. It's been cooking for about 3.5 hours now, so I'm just going to take a little bit of this meat out and test it and see how succulent it is, because we want it to be falling apart. So it's quite a big chunk there. I'm just going to put it on the chopping board here. Oh, it's just falling apart. That's great. That's what we want. There we go. Really good. Really, really good. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to make the cheese scones to go on top of that. So first step, I'm going to turn on the oven. Put that up to 200. I've got a baking tray here with some parchment paper on it, some baking paper on it. For the cheese scones, I'm following the beef cobbler recipe on BBC, and I'm just halving the amounts. I'm not following it strictly, so for example, I'm not using wholemeal flour for 50 grams. I'm using self-raising flour for all of it. But just to get the idea for the quantities that I need for the cheese scones, I'm having a look at that recipe. So I'm halving everything. So we're going to need 100 ml of milk. And we need 200 grams of self-raising flour. I'll put the bowl on my scales, put the scales on. Should be at 0. Yeah, I need 200 grams self-raising flour. That might even be a bit much for what's going to fit in the slow cooker, but it doesn't matter. If I cook a bit over, that's fine. I can always eat them for something different. I'm going to need a sprinkle of flour on the... oh, that's 200. Hang on. Right. I'll just put a spoon of flour there on the bread because I'm going to need that in a moment. You'll see why. And 50 grams of butter. So put the scales off. Off they go. Put the bowl on there. Put them back on. And that's them at 0. 50 grams of butter. It's 51. That'll do. Okay, I also need 150 grams of cheese, but I'm just going to grate that in once I've mixed everything together. It's been a while since I've done scones, so I'm just having a little refresh of the method. Pretty sure I remember how it goes. It's pretty easy. I'm not using baking powder, folks. I'll turn that off. Right, okay, so I've got the flour. I'm going to tip the butter into the flour. We're going to mix it together with our hands so it's like breadcrumbs. Some recipes I've noticed suggest that you warm the milk up a little bit. Oh, I'm going to turn the oven is on. That you warm the milk up a little bit, but I don't think I'm going to do that. I'm just going to do it like this. So I want you to see what I'm doing in the bowl. Not the best angle, but you get the vibe. So we're just mixing the butter in with the flour, using our hands, and keep working it in so that we get a nice crumbly texture. Takes a few minutes, this. I've also got some dried chives. Ideally I'd like to use fresh chives to add into this, but I've got some dried ones. I'm just going to put a pinch of them in with the mix once I've got it going. The recipe suggests that you can use rosemary as well if you want to put some rosemary in with your scones. Or scones. You can do that. Errol's got me into saying scones now. I used to say scones, you know, all the time, but she's got me saying scones. It's actually quite cool. I like it. Skin. Love scone. Love a good scone. That's all almost all mixed in now. Still a bit more to go. It's just a couple of clumps that I need to finish working into the flour there. Okay, yeah, I'm happy with that. Just show you the crummy texture there you've got in there. I'm going to make a little hole, a little well in the middle there, I'm going to add a bit of the milk, half of it, with a wooden spoon, and sort of work that in. So it's, there we go. And then add the rest top. And just mix it all together. You don't want to beat it though, you're not making a cake, you don't want it light and fluffy, you just want to work it in so that all the flour gets the milk on it. So it's like a sort of sticky dough, like that. It might be good to add the grated cheese in now, and the herbs actually. Oh, I need to wash my hands. Oh, I've got flour all over them. A little bit messy, but that's okay. Right. So I think the recipe was for 75 grams of cheese, so I'm just going to grate it in what I think will be a good amount. Just using cheddar. I think this is mature cheddar. It's got a bit more flavour to it, that'll do. Not too much. And I'm going to put a pinch of chives in. She says, trying to open the jar. There we go. Just a pinch. The smell smells strong. Because they're dried, the herbs are much stronger, so you don't need much. You know, to give it a bang on flavour there. That'll be plenty. I'm just going to mix this in with the rest of the dough. That's looking good. Let's add in a bit more. Okay. Right, now I've got some flour on here which I'm just going to spread out so that it doesn't stick to the pan when I'm board when I'm making my scones. I'm going to pop them on here now. This is where it gets a bit messy, but so we've got feels a bit too sticky, if you see what I mean. A bit too. Maybe I could have done with some more flour on that. Let's see what it goes. Let's see what happens. I'll pop it on that flour there. And, this is only a small amount, so we're only going to be making 3 or 4 scones out of this. Got some more in the mix there. Just try and get it all on. And just pat it out. So you can decide how thick you want your scones to be. Because remember, they will rise a little bit. I think that'll be okay. Yeah. Right, now I need something to cut them out with. I haven't got any cutters. Oh, that glass will do. Right? I've just seen the perfect cutting thing that I can use. One bit of line. Ideal size. So you can use a glass if you haven't got a proper cutter. Works just as good. There you go. I'm going to pop them straight onto the baking tray when I've done them. Oh, these are a nice size. I like these. This is good. I'm also going to whisk an egg, which I'm going to use to glaze the top of the scones with. Or you could use milk. If you haven't got any eggs, you could use milk. And that will just make it go a bit brown, a bit golden in the oven, you know, when you're baking it. Really quite excited about this. So once these have cooked in the oven, they'll probably go in for about 15-20 minutes, I'm reckoning. Then I will put them on top of the beef stew there for sort of 5 minutes, just to let them sort of soak into it. and it'll be a beef cobbler. There we go. So we've got 6 little cheese scones here. That's going to be a funny shaped one. The joys of baking, you know, you can make it and shape it however you like. And there's also a little bit left over there, so I might as well bake that up. That can be like a little mini one. So next step, I'm just going to whisk an egg in a bowl. And we're going to pop that onto the scones. Right, just whisk that up. Got one of these awesome little brush things. I'll put in the egg. Or the milk, if you've got a glass of milk, and then paint it on top, like that. There we go, I'm going to pop them in the oven and check them in about 15 minutes. The cheese scones have been baking in the oven for 20 minutes. I've turned off the oven, taken the scones out, and just going to stir the, oh wow, that beef stew, I suppose you want to call it, beef stew, looks amazing. And now I'm going to place the scones on top of the stew like that. I'm not sure I'll be able to fit all of them on, but that's okay because I can eat one of these for lunch tomorrow or whatever. They look good. They look really good. Looking forward to trying this. Just laying them all on like that. One in the middle maybe. I'll go there. I think this big one will fit nicely on the end there. Lovely. So I'm just going to put the lid on, leave that to cook, maybe turn it down to low on the slow cooker, and then I'm going to cook the broccoli. So I'm going to put the hob on, put it on to 4. Just give that a quick rinse. If it's a bit thick. I've also got a little bit more broccoli here. It's not the best in the middle, so I'll just take the florets on the outside there. Give them a quick rinse. And that one. Okay. You could also serve peas with it, or some other green veg, maybe a bit of cabbage might be nice. I'm just going to boil the broccoli now for about 10 minutes. I've just turned off the broccoli and the slow cooker, ready to drain the broccoli and dish everything out. Oh wow, bubbling away there. It's going to be really hot. So I wanted to sort of soak the cheese scone on top of the beef and gravy there. There we go. I'll put some extra gravy on. Looks really good. carrots as well, look great. Oh my, that smells. Ooh. That little one, that little cheeky one there, look at that. That smells gorgeous. Right. Give her a little bit more meat and gravy. And she might want half of that. She's going on as well. So I'm very excited to eat this delicious beef cobbler. Bon appetit.